Hello everyone, I'm Karen and welcome back to my channel. Today, on the very last day of 2018, I want to talk to you guys about my top 5 books of the year. I read a grand total of 28 books this year, which is quite a bit below my usual average, but a lot of those books were absolutely fantastic, so I feel like all in all I got quite a good reading year. So I've picked 5 of my favourites and one little bonus one that I want to talk to you guys about today. The first on my list is The Falconer by Elizabeth May. This is the first book in the Falconer trilogy and I love the entire trilogy, but because you should start with the first one, that's the one I picked. The best way to describe this book is Jane Austen meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It basically does exactly what that says on the tin. I really enjoyed it. It was fun, it was fast paced, and I just kind of rushed through the 3 books back to back, so that's usually a pretty good sign for me, so that's why this comes onto this list. The second book on my list for the best books of 2018 is The Truth About Lies by Tracy Danton. Now this is a book that I did not expect to be on this list, but it is. This is a contemporary YA thriller. I know, I don't think I've ever picked up any book like this. I don't know if I will in the future, maybe if something really appeals to me, but I absolutely love this book. I've made a full review video and I'll put it up here for you. This talks a lot about memory and about like super recognizers, so if you're interested into that kind of thing, then this is definitely the book for you. The next book on my list for this year, and these are in no particular order by the way, it was hard enough to pick them, so please don't make me rank them, but the third one on the list is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Again, this book kind of refers to an entire trilogy. This is adult high fantasy, but it reads a little bit post-apocalyptic in a weird way as well. I absolutely love this trilogy so much and I am so happy I finally read it in 2018. It's been on my wish list for a couple of years. I find it really hard to describe why I love this book so much, but I think it's a mixture of the world, the way it's built up, the characters, and the way things are revealed throughout the series. So as a reader, it only gives you as much information as you can take on at a time, but you know that more is coming. And so especially in the third book I was like, mind absolutely blown. Please just read it if you wanted to read this. If you like high fantasy in any way, shape or form, you should read this. It is just absolutely fantastic. The fourth book on my list is this one, The Disneyland Story by Sam Ganaway, and I read it at like the very beginning of the year because this was one of my Christmas presents last year. I've made a video, we'll link it up below and up and everything for you. This is kind of like a biography of Disneyland, the original Disneyland park in Anaheim, and I found it absolutely fascinating. As you may know, I'm a massive Disney freak. I love all the history, I love all the artistry that the company has in its history and its legacy, and this book was amazing. It was so much fun to kind of get a good view as to how some of the attractions I've actually been on and how they were developed. For instance, I think I mentioned this in my review video, but the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was supposed to be a walkthrough with just only like 2 or 3 rooms, and kind of seeing how it's grown over the years and how the concepts have changed to kind of keep up A with modern times, B with modern audiences, and C also with like new technical innovations. So if you're any kind of like Disney nerd like I am and you want to learn more about Disneyland, like the original Disneyland in Anaheim, you should read this book. The fifth and final book on my list for today is Blood Witch by Susan Dennard, and this might be my favourite. As you guys know, I love the Witchland series by Susan. I love the world, I love the characters, and I've loved them since the very beginning. And if you haven't read Sight Witch yet and you've read Wind Witch, you should read this before you read Blood Witch, because I read it at the beginning of the year and honestly it gives you so much more kind of like little bits of insider information that will actually make you make links between characters and between events in Blood Witch. So if you haven't read this yet, you should read it before Blood Witch. But this can't be my favourite book of the year because Blood Witch was just phenomenal. And you don't have too long to wait because Blood Witch is out in February and I have pre-ordered my copy. There's a really cool pre-order kind of like gift that you get as well, so I'll link some information to that down below. In Blood Witch we continue our journey with all the main characters that you've met in Truth Witch and Wind Witch. If you want to find out more about Truth Witch and you haven't started the series, I'll link the video up above. But honestly, Bloodwitch has once again opened the world up further. It's been amazing to be able to get into Adrian's head a bit more. As the series progresses, we get more and more of an idea of what forces are really at work in the Witchlands and who our actual true enemies might be, and they might not be the same people as in the first 2 books. And what I find really interesting is that even though Adrian and Isolde are my favourites, I have so much more love for some of the other characters than we had before, and every single character has an arc, they have progression. Especially Marek and Adrian have an amazing arc in this book, and honestly I'm already kind of like dying for the next book. I wish it was like right here. So yeah, if you haven't pre-ordered yet, you should do it. I'm just, you know, happy 2019 to you then. So there you are, those are my 5 favourite books of 2018. I do have one little extra book for you, and that category is the favourite book I've worked on this year. I was really lucky, I got to work on Mirror Magic by Claire Fayers. Claire's a really lovely friend of mine, and this book got me out of a massive reading slump in the summer, just before the summer. This is like Victoria and orphan siblings going back to their birthplace, where they figure out that magic is not all it seems and the magic mirrors are all starting to die. And I did a video. Honestly, this is such a charming and fun book. I hope that Claire writes a bit more in this world at some point. Well, there you have it. These are my favourite books of 2018. I read some absolute stunning books this year. Do let me know down below in the comments if you've read any of these books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a wonderful holiday season, and I'll talk to all of you in 2019. Bye!